Happy Independence Anniversary to all Nigerians, and thank you for joining us on the special edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Benga Oreshegun. Today on the program, as Nigeria celebrates 64th Independence Anniversary, we examine the challenges of statehood in the country. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mayor Akinpelu. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Nigeria is 64, following its gaining of independence from Great Britain on the 1st of October 1960. In the words of President Bola Tinubu in his nationwide broadcast to mark the anniversary, the event gives Nigerians another chance to reflect on how far the country has gone in its journey to nationhood. So at this juncture, in that checkered journey, economic hardship appears to be the biggest challenge facing the country. As such, President Tinubu in his address called for more patience from Nigerians as he strives to revive the economy. Let's hear from the President on this.
Our administration knows that many of you struggle with rising costs and the search for meaningful employment. I want to assure you that your voices are heard. As your president, I assure you that we are committed to finding sustainable solutions to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. Once again, I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The economy is undergoing the necessary reforms and retooling to serve us better and more sustainably. If we do not correct the physical misalignment that led to the current economic downturn, our country will face an uncertain future and the peril of unimaginable consequences. Thanks to the reform, our country attracted foreign direct investment worth more than $30 billion in the last year. Fellow compatriots, our administration is committed to free enterprises, free entry, and free exit in investment while maintaining the sanctity and efficacy of our regulatory processes. This principle guides the divestment transaction in our upstream sector, where we are committed to changing the fortune positively. As such, ExxonMobil surplus divestment will receive ministerial approval in a matter of days, having been concluded by the regulator, NUPRC, in line with the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. This was done in the same manner as other qualified divestment approved in the sector.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. Unlabeled to believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make sense of the workplace.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
All right, let's bring the conversation home.
Our administration knows that many of you struggle with rising costs and is search for meaningful employment.
The conversation. Months. How have we fared?
We are looking at Nigeria since independence. And I don't want to limit
to 16.
Yes, because we have to look at where we are coming from. And look at where we are today. So the discussion is basically about Nigeria as a nation since independence. How have we fared? I would say we are not where we ought to be, given the size of our population. We have the potential to do much better than we are doing. But we also must admit that in terms of the size of our economy, in the 60s and the 70s, we have grown much bigger. And our population has also grown. So what we need to do now is to focus on expanding our economy by concentrating more on the services subsector of the economy, as well as the manufacturing. That is where we should focus on, because manufacturing will deliver a lot of job opportunities for people. Services will also do that. And in terms of the contribution to the economy, when you look at agriculture and the services sector, they are the kings in terms of the contribution to the size of our GDP. You can see what the MTNs of this world are doing. That sector is contributing tremendously to the GDP of our country. So when you look at what we've achieved overall, we have struggled over the years to come up with economic policies that have not really worked. You look at the structural adjustment program, people will readily blame it for where we are today, because the devaluation of our currency actually was a product of the structural adjustment program. And we've moved from there to where we are today. I would say that we've not failed totally. I will not say that we have failed, but we can do much better. Yes, given the size of our population, given the potential, the boundless potential that our country has, we can do much better.
Are you saying that in the area of devaluing, looking at the Bretton Woods institution, so most of the time we take advice from them. Should we stop taking advice from them and let us look inwards, just like the way China does, and let's create our own kind of economy?
It's difficult for a third world nation. China is not a third world nation. And you must learn from the bigger countries. India decided to learn from the bigger countries. India learned from China. Today they are much better. We cannot stand on our own in the real sense of the word. And no country is an island. You have to, if you keep going to the West to ask for loans and all that, they will be in position to advise you.
You can't say no.
Remember, even when they returned money stolen by Abacha to us, they told us that one of the conditions for them to release the money is for us to get the civil society organizations to monitor how that money will be used. Because they've had stories that the money looted, when released to us, we will reloot it. So we committed the money to building Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, building the second Niger Bridge, and the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway. And release of the money was monitored
for transparency.
Yes, by the NGOs, as demanded by the people released. It's our money, but for you to get their cooperation next time, because we still have some of those monies with them, you know. When we need it, when we are very, very broke, somehow Abacha steps in and assists us. So the money, those monies that he stole, we still have some left. For us to get their buy-in in terms of the release, then they set conditions. And it's always like that when you take a loan from people and all that. So.
All right, Mayor, let's, in the last 64 years, let's not limit to 16 years. How have we fared? Are we on the right path where the president said that the mistakes of the past, we must not bring it to the future? So how have we fared?
I think I would say that our economy is suffering from structural defects. Yes, structural defects. And the problem basically has to do with leadership or lack of it. Because when you look at when we were in the regions, the basis of prosperity in those regions was agriculture. But unfortunately for us, we discovered oil in large quantity. We started making a lot of money. Different crises made oil to be very profitable. And we missed our way. We started spending money like docking sailor. Yes, we were able to achieve some infrastructural development, but we squandered so much that when the world economy started having problems, our economy did not have enough shock absorber to be able to absorb it. When you now had that to the leadership and lack of it from 1960 to date, you discover that we have an economy that has challenges. But one thing you have to give to our economy is that from 1960 to date, we have not done badly. We have not done badly. Until recently, when our currency was devalued, we used to have the biggest economy in Africa, bigger than South Africa, that is well developed and well structured. And there was a time in this country when manufacturing was the in thing. Major, yes, in textiles, in pharmaceuticals, even cars assembly. Yes, we used to have Peugeot, we used to have Volkswagen, we used to have Leyland in Ibadan. So there was a time our economy was good, but unfortunately we missed our way.
When did we get it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's lack of leadership. And part of the problem has to do with when the military were there for a long time, they didn't handle things properly. The military left. The set of politicians that came in were not different. You understand? People over time has continued to loot the Nigerian patrimony. And then Abacha is an example. When you continue to collect over last maybe $4-5 billion now from one person, when you take that kind of volume, that is one person taking that kind of amount from the national port, and then there are different people in different segments, in different agencies, in different layers of government, from governors to local government and all that. So you now realize that we have plundered the country, that the economy could not withstand the shocks that were coming. Because recently, it's not only in Nigeria that we have these economic challenges. We have to consider
that's true.
the world is facing it. Even China, as successful as they are, their economy has slowed considerably. It's only India that is really doing very well now. So there have been challenges structured, but most of the problems that we had were man-made. We had the opportunity, yes, we had the opportunity to be a big nation. Other nations that we started out together, India, like Singapore, Malaysia, all of them are levels behind because, like I said, there was lack of leadership. We were looting the treasury, and then it got to a point the economy could not just withstand it.
I think largely the oil boom has been a cause to us.
Okay,
the moment, yes, the oil boom of the 70s, the moment we saw oil, our interest in agriculture declined. All of those bridges on Lagos Island, all of those industries here in Lagos, Ogun State, Oyo State, were built with money made from cash crops. Cocoa House itself, the first such building in West Africa. WBC
WNBC
and WNTV, the first in Africa, were built by Awolowo and Co. from proceeds from cash crops. The same thing in the north. But the moment we saw that we are making money from oil, the government interest in agriculture declined. All of the policies that they came up with by themselves, they did not even pursue those programs. It was the oil boom that turned us away from agriculture. And when we talk about the fact that Nigeria was among the 9 big countries of the world, Singapore, Malaysia, India, and the rest of them, it was agriculture that put us in that position. Today, when you go to Kano, you know, there used to be this granite pyramid. The place where they used to put those granite pyramids, the iconic picture of those that era. The place now, they now sell cars. Initially, they were using it to wash, they were washing clothes. They renamed it Filling Wanka, that is feed for washing of clothes. All those local dry cleaners, that was where they were converging to wash clothes. You know, where we used to assemble bags of granite. From that point, it turned to where they were selling second-hand cars. So that's the extent to which we neglected agriculture, and it's one of the reasons for the mess that we found ourselves.
All right, we need to go on this quick break. When we return, we're going to be talking about Nigeria's unity in diversity. Don't go anywhere. We'll be... All right, let's go back to the conversation. Nigeria became independent in 1960.
Correct.
But the arguments that are coming together was like a forced marriage of different identity. What are your thoughts here?
I don't agree with that. We have moved beyond that. When people talk, Nigeria's marriage is a Catholic marriage. There's no divorce in our marriage. Since 1914, yes, we were different nations when we were married by Lord Lugard. But we have moved from there because, despite the fact of our challenges, there is strength in numbers. There is strength in numbers, and there is very few countries in the world where you have homogeneity, that they are the same people. Even advanced countries, even UK, even America, understand, is a collection of different people. So we should not look back. Looking back will not solve the problem. Nigeria is already an entity since 1960. So we should move forward and look at how the country could be better. That we were forced together by Lord Lugard. Yeah, it was administrative convenience at that time. It was administrative convenience that made them to merge everybody in different regions. But fine, it has been done, and we have moved from there now for 64 years. So I don't think we should look back that we were forced to come together and all that. That's why I used to tell people, we are in this marriage already.
We're in it together.
Yes,
whatever problem we can solve.
Let us move forward. Yes, let us, because there is, like I said, there is strength in the numbers that we have.
Sure.
It's just that we are not using it well. India has become one of the major economies of the world. Very soon, they will even overtake others. And what they are doing is, even their population is now more than China. There is strength in population if we will use it well. If you harness it properly. So we should do that. But my own argument, my own belief is that for us to solve this economy, for us to reboot this economy, we must go back to agriculture. That's
making agriculture attractive
yes.
is the problem. But anyway, BK, we have over 250 ethnic groups. How will you assess the way President Bola Tinubu has been able to handle these issues? Has it done it right? Is it doing it right?
Nigerian leaders, as I said, I don't want to base this discussion on what is happening now. We're looking at our country since independence, and the challenges that we face did not begin in one day. The successes that we have recorded were not recorded in one day. So this is not a Bola Tinubu conversation. It's about Nigeria. How have we fared? So as much as possible, let's look at what we've been able to achieve over the years. Because statistics sometimes can be misleading. Because if we want to simply look at, we cannot judge the success of Nigeria or the failure of Nigeria by the events of 1.5 years. No, it's not so. Let's leave Bola Tinubu alone. Maybe after 4 years, we can assess him. So but we are celebrating our independence. We have to look at what our leaders have done. So Nigerian leaders have done their best to unite us as a people. Since after the Civil War, certain steps unite our people. The word, the phrase unity in diversity was actually coined by former Indian Prime Minister Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru. Because you look at India, which today is the most populated country in the world, it has different people. There are more Muslims in India than there is in any country of the world. Yet, Islam is not the dominant religion in their country. But there are many Muslims, Indians who have accepted Islam as their own true religion in that country. There are Buddhists, there are all kinds of people. Yet they've been able to forge a country that works. That's how Nehru then came up with that phrase, unity in diversity. Nigeria is similar to India in many ways in terms of the multiplicity of ethnicities that we have. There are states in Nigeria where you have more than 100 ethnic groups. More than 100 ethnic groups, people speaking different languages. Adamawa is one state with multiple ethnicities. You go to Kaduna, multiple ethnicities. People speaking, you can, in a particular community, in a particular town, for example, you will find people who do not even understand each other's language. In one town. People parceled out into different clans, but they speak different languages. That's how it is in Kaduna. You go to southern Kaduna, people, different ethnic groups. And what was it called? Adamawa as well, and even Borno to an extent. So we created unity schools. The idea of unity schools after the Civil War was for Nigerians to be able to know their country, mingle with people from different parts of the country. So we had those federal government colleges. People like Shagari, the late president, his own children were going to school in federal government college, Iloni. That was where, as president of the country, his children were in federal government college, Iloni. Because I still remember the accident that killed his wife and children. Then we also had the NYSC. The NYSC was designed for the same purpose of forging national cohesion. It brought people together, from different parts of the country to serve their country in places that they had not been to before. It was believed that, okay, let the person who is a Southerner go and serve in northern Nigeria. Maybe one distant community, And then they also had exchange programs for students to even go to schools that are not federal government colleges, not unity schools, but for them to go and study in those schools. In Okene, where I attended secondary school, for example, there were such exchange students who came from Plateau and other states. All of this, they designed so that Nigerians would see each other as their brothers, their sisters, and see us as people belonging to one country. Then we also had the federal character principle. The whole idea of the federal character principle is to ensure that everybody in Nigeria have the same rights to employment, the same rights to joining the armed forces. So the federal character principle was one of the policies designed to forge national cohesion, national oneness, national synthesis, so that we'll see ourselves increasingly as one people. And then the National Orientation Agency was created for the purpose of reaching out to Nigerians and making Nigerians realize that it's such a good thing for us to see ourselves as one indivisible country. It's just like South Africa. They call them the Rainbow Nation. And Desmond Tutu said, oh, it is actually the rainbow people of God that is united by the love of God, united even on the basis of religion. So I would say that over the years we've tried. We are not perfect, but I wonder how Nigeria would be if we didn't have NYSC, for example. Many people would not even know other parts of the country.
Exactly. Exactly. We need to go on this quick break right now. And when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout.
Àsìkò yìí o, tó bá fẹ́ ìrànlọ́wọ́ ń bọ̀ wá o. Ìrànlọ́wọ́ Lagos State nítorí Sanwó-Olú ń ṣiṣẹ́. Mo ní àsọ̀rẹ́ tí ń wo Èkó.
Inú mi dùn gan-an tí gómìnà wa Sanwó-Olú ṣe fún wa lénìí. Adébí wọn ká wá fún ìwòsàn ọ̀fẹ́. Adẹ̀débí ara àwọn doctors oríṣiríṣi wọn ṣàyẹ̀wò fún wa. Wọ́n fún wa lóògùn tó dáa, then wọ́n wá fún wa, wá gbé packages fún wa. Wọ́n lé àwa tabatilé láti 70.
My big thanks goes to Lagos State government. For since I was born, I've never come across this type of a thing before.
All right, if you just joined us, it is still Journalist Hangout. I still have the veteran BKO and Mayor Kimpelu right here. All right, BKO, you were talking about the issue of agriculture. How do we make agriculture attractive? You talked about it that we missed our way when the oil boom, the Yankee Poll War and all of that. But how do we now make agriculture attractive, especially for the young Nigerians?
We've always told the people in government that there's a need to make agriculture attractive to young people. Because we have an aging farming population. When you go to many parts of our country, you see that young people are not really interested in agriculture. The way to encourage them is to bring in technology. These young people who are on social media, even from the way they talk, they are a self-entitled generation. They are not people that you are going to just tell them, go, this is a piece of land, go and giving it to you, go and work on it. You must tractorize those fields.
Mechanized.
Yes, that's what I mean. Tractorize the fields, make high yield seedlings available to them.
Okay.
Yes. Make soft loans available to them. Give them the startup capital.
Okay.
And get them to realize that there's a lot that they can gain. Then we had DFRI. DFRI back then, during the military era, was meant to create roads in rural communities so that produce from those farms can be easily evacuated and taken to where the markets are.
Yeah, the markets.
Today, if you go to Benue State, a lot of the mangoes, oranges produced, they can't find market for them.
Post-harvest losses.
They can sell a bucket of, I can't even remember how much I bought a bucket of oranges just outside of Boko. Because they will not, who will buy? Government should also work with the private sector to set up companies that would produce, that will produce maybe fruit juices, for example, in places like Benue where the raw material is readily available. Because it is from such things, from making chocolate out of cocoa, that is where the money is. The money is not in selling the produce itself. Côte d'Ivoire produces a lot of cocoa. But the money that they make in Switzerland from turning cocoa to chocolate is by far higher than what the people produce it. So we need to do our best in this area. But I believe that the government, all of the policies of government, will look back at them. National Accelerated Food Production Program, NAFP, in 1973, Operation Feed the Nation that Obasanjo did in 1976, and rural development authorities that the military came with. Then in 2011, we had the Nigerian Agricultural Transformation Agenda. All of these programs have achieved little or nothing because our focus is on oil.
Until we focus back.
People, if the current government, for example, they have land. Land belongs to the states. What are they waiting for? You see states with so much land, apart from the governor of Niger, that I'm really impressed with his work. These governors are not interested in boosting agriculture. They're interested in awarding contracts for overhead bridges in some places where they are not, and airports.
All right. Mayor, in the area of agriculture, Nigeria before is known as a green nation.
And it can still be done.
How did we lose that?
It's because government took decisive steps to get involved in agriculture. And that's what we should do again. One, all tiers of government must be involved in agriculture. That's number one. And especially states and local governments. Every state. There must be a meeting, that will agree among the federal government and the states that every state must be involved in agriculture. You will concentrate on where you have comparative advantage. Whether it is yam that is good here, whether it's cocoa that is good here, whether it is tomato that is good here. Every state will concentrate where they have comparative advantage. Then you will have farms, mechanized farms, and then you will now put people in clusters to form like
rice growing clusters.
Yes, like a farmers club, where everybody, if you have in this local government or in this state, you have designated maybe 6
You have 1 hectare.
Yes, you have 6 points as the farming areas where you want to do. You can attract young people because what you need to do is to provide infrastructure, tractors, seedlings, and all that. The state provides that. Then you allocate the land to each farmer with the support that they want. You have already given them the infrastructure that they need to work. So they will be in a farmers club. They can get that loan. It's not what they are doing, what they did before during the time of Buhari. The governor, Central Bank, initiated Anchor Borers, and they just collected the money and people just went to people who are not even farmers.
How about for states to liaise with other states?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think Lagos State did with...
because Lagos has not got land, for example.
That's what I'm saying that everybody should concentrate where they have comparative advantage. Then when you do that, apart from the fact that you provide the funding through soft loans, and then the infrastructure through mechanized farming.
Okay.
Then you form them into clubs so that everybody will be able to do that. When the proceeds from such farms, you understand, that will be government will have marketing boards who will buy most of the things from them. You understand? Bought value from these farmers. So the farmer,
prices.
The farmer is
we used to have that back in the
farmer
day.
is farmer concentrates on producing things, on production. He will not bother about how am I going to sell. He mentioned where people will do they will produce oranges and there's nobody to buy in Bedouin, and then they will now sell it cheap. But if the government had been involved, they would have gone down or up. There are a lot of companies doing that. Chivita is doing juices everywhere. Those are the basic products that they need. But we need to do it properly. Let each state get involved. Let us form farmers club where you put people to give them do mechanized farming by providing the tractors and they need the tractors go and work in all those.
I think one of the other is even in the 70s, banks provided loans as part of the agri program of government. But the rate of default was too high. So banks became discouraged from providing loans to farmers. If you look at the Anchor Borrowers Program, in terms of the rate of repayment of the loan, is one of the worst. Because politicians access the funds, people set up fake cooperatives, fake farmers cooperatives, just to access the money, and they never got involved in farming.
Why is the EFCC and ICPC not looking in that regard? But anyway, let's look at education, because our time is fast spent. Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children. How do we address this issue?
We need to address insecurity. Some of the problem is caused by insecurity. And when you look at the number of schools, for example, Boko Haram destroyed hundreds of schools in Borno alone. And they killed thousands of teachers. The out-of-school children that insecurity has caused is monumental. I can tell you because this is something that I witnessed. I traveled to Zamfara to investigate the kidnapping of school girls. And I discovered that school where those guys took away school girls, by the time, after about a year, the school was reopened. By the time the school reopened, only about half of the students were back. The rest, their parents didn't think they should come back. So, and it's like that. The bandits keep targeting schools because they with this Safe Schools project or something.
Safe Schools initiative.
We need to ask ourselves, how well has it helped us to secure those schools? Because security is not simply putting perimeter fencing. It's beyond that. We have to, even tertiary institutions have been attacked by these people. So we need to look at even the Almajiri education. How well has it performed? Can we take it to the next level? All of those children roaming the streets should actually be in school. And I expect that our governors, especially from the far north, will look at the Almajiri syndrome, just as the governor of Borno has complained, and do their best to take those children off the streets. They have no reason holding bowls, begging for food all over the place. The governor of Borno State said the people who were involved in the attack on business premises during the last protest were these Almajiris. He said it, the governor of Borno State. So how much longer are we going to allow this to continue? A good chunk of the out-of-school children are actually Almajiris. Then we also need to make education free, at least from primary to secondary. Make it free so that poor people, their children can access education. If we do that, the number of people who can afford education would increase, because a lot of these students drop out. They drop out after primary school. Parents won't be able to pay WAEC fees. They won't be able to pay JAM fees. And the private schools Is even you don't even contemplate. So if we can make education accessible to all at that level, primary and secondary, it will help to reduce the out-of-school children.
Right,
my own position is that government should take education seriously, more seriously. Okay. Most governments don't. And that's the only way we can solve that problem. The amount of money allocated to education is too low. That is the major problem. The amount of money allocated to education is too low. Okay. The government, from the federal government to the state government, must consciously increase funding to our education. Because part of the problem is that even those, let's not bother about, apart from the out of school students, those even attending schools, what is the state of some of those schools? You will see pictures in this 21st century of students still going to school and sitting on bare floor. You understand? So we must increase the funding to the educational sector. Okay. We must invest heavily in infrastructure. Then we must make education accessible to everybody that wants to have that education. So I agree absolutely that education from the primary to secondary should be free for everybody. All
right, we'll talk more on infrastructure, but let's go over to our next line of conversation. Where at independence in 1960,